Okay, call sign structure. When you get your ham license, you get a call sign, and amateur call signs begin with the letters A, K, N, or W for United States amateur call signs. And they'll have one or two letters, a single numeral, and then 1, 2, or 3 letters again. Okay, so a call sign in this form here, K5P, we call that a 1-by-1 call sign. Okay, because it has one letter and here and one letter here. Okay, if it's WH6PHS, it's a 2-by-3 call sign, 2 letters here, 2 letters here. Okay, the 1-by-1 call signs only issued on a temporary basis for a special event station. Okay, so that's how they construct them. They all begin with A, K, N, or W for United States amateur call signs. Okay, and here are how the numbers are assigned. If you're in California, you get a 6. If you're in all of this stuff here, you get a 7. Here you get a 0. Here you get a 5, and so on. Out here in Hawaii, they put an H in front of the numeral. So all of our call signs that are issued out here are KH6 or KH7. Could be AH6, WH6, or NH6 also, because remember we can have A, K, and a W. And the same with the 7s. Right now what they're issuing are WA6s with 3 letters after. So your call sign will be a WA6 something, probably starting maybe with a D, but more likely with an E. So WA6E something. Which type of call sign has a single letter in both the prefix and the suffix?
Has a single letter in both the prefix
and the suffix? That's a special event call sign.
That's a special event call sign.
Okay, which of the following is a valid U.S. amateur radio station call sign? Of the ones they give you, W3ABC is the only one that's correct, that meets those things that we looked at. The distractors they give you for that are KMA 3505, and you can see that it has more than one numeral. So that makes it wrong. KDKA has no numerals, so we know that it's not an amateur call sign. And 11Q 1176 doesn't begin with A, K, N, or W, so that we know that it's not an amateur call sign. What types of international communications are permitted by an FCC licensed amateur station? Communications that are incidental to the purposes of the amateur service and remarks of a personal character. Amateurs talk to each other about their equipment. They talk to each other about what their signals sound like. They and some hams become very good friends over the air also. In fact, there are people that talk to each other all the time on the radio that may never have met in person, but they just they found a common interest talking on the radio, and so they talk about things they're interested in. There are also nets that operate for various reasons. People come together to create a net that meets at a particular day and time, and may talk about various topics. When are you allowed to operate your amateur station in a foreign country? When the foreign country authorizes it, and there are various, with various foreign countries, there are various procedures for that. So if you're going to be traveling in a foreign country, you might want to become licensed by that foreign country to operate that. What must you do if you're operating in the 23 centimeter band and learn that you are interfering with a radio location service or a station outside the United States? Now, 23 centimeters is one of them that we have on a secondary basis. So here they're talking about you're interfering with a primary user, and the action you should take is to stop operating and take steps to eliminate the harmful interference, change frequency or something like that. From which of the following may an FCC licensed amateur station transmit in addition to places where the FCC regulates communications? Okay, now the FCC regulates communications in the United States and its territories and possessions, but they also issue licenses that for vessel or craft boats, basically, that is documented or registered in the United States. So you can operate worldwide from any vessel or craft that's documented or registered in the United States. If you come into a foreign port, then you come under the rules of that country. But when you're on the open seas and so on, you can still operate from that vessel or craft. What may happen when correspondence from the FCC is returned as undeliverable because the grantee, that's the person with the license grant, the grantee, failed to provide the correct mailing address. If your mail goes back to the FCC as undeliverable, they can revoke your station license and suspend your operator license. So it's important that you keep a current mailing address on file with the FCC. What's the normal term for an FCC-issued primary station operator license grant? It's 10 years. And I made this graphic down here. You get your license here, and for 10 years the license is good. You can transmit on it, and so on. When the license expires, you have 2 years that you may renew it without having to retest. Okay? If you let it go past 2 years, and I have some people in my radio class right now that have done that, then they have to retest, so they're taking the class so they can retest to get their license back. After the 10 years, when the license expires, you cannot transmit, even though you're still in that 2-year renewal period. So the best answer is just don't let it expire. And if you can renew it within 90 days before it expires, and then it'll never expire and you won't have to worry about this stuff. How soon may you transmit after you pass the examination elements required for your first amateur radio license? The FCC has a really great database called ULS, it's Universal Licensing System, and the amateur portion of it is quite easy to use. And you'll find your call sign and your name there once that's been issued. It happens usually within about 10 days or 2 weeks of taking the test, which is a big improvement from the old days when it could take a month or 6 weeks and you had to wait for your license to come in the mail. But now as soon as you find your name and call sign there in the database, you're able to start transmitting. Here's what the line in the database looks like. We'll tell you that your license has appeared here. If you click on here, it'll have your address and all of that. Of course, it won't work here because this is just a picture of it. But there's the call sign. There's the name. This is called an FCC registration number, and when you get your license, it'll have a number like this on it that they've issued to you. If your license has expired and is still within the allowable grace period, may you continue to transmit? No, you can't transmit until the ULS shows that the license has been renewed. Okay, so here you see a case of a license that expired, and it's actually my same call sign, and after he let it expire, then I was able to get that call sign. Okay, when you're looking for your license online, put in your last name, put in the state of Hawaii, and see what comes up, and you'll get a screen like the previous one. It'll have your name on it and your call sign, and then you'll be able to click into it to make sure all the details in there are correct. But this portion of the database right here, the screen, is this right in here. So just put in your last name and your state of Hawaii, and check and see if you have had your license issued.